We just got on location here in rural Indiana. We're shooting a YouTube video today for Business Insider. Business Insider is a very popular YouTube channel, and we're shooting a rise and fall video, which is a video that is going to talk about how a company rose and fell. This particular company went into bankruptcy. We're going to talk to some former manager, and it's going to be good. We scoped it out. We looked over at the location. Originally, maybe we were going to shoot in the garage, but I think we're going to opt to shoot outside. So let's get set up. I've got my Panasonic S5 on the tripod. I've got a 50 millimeter prime on it. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Haven't decided completely yet, but we're working on it. Haven't set up audio yet. I'm mainly trying to find the shot and where we're going to have him be, because we need to pick the background that we're going to focus on. So that's what we're up to right now. We're getting the Aputure 300D set up and ready for a softbox. We're just going to fly it in and brighten up his face. I think that's all we're going to do for lighting. It's really handy because he's got power right here. There's power available outside here, so we don't even have to run cables that long. He's even got extension cords that we can use. So it's going to be a quick setup. We're going to have him come out in just a minute, sit in the chair so we can get a frame up of exactly how this is going to look. But I'm liking it so far. I'm glad we chose to stay outside. The garage in there is where we're going to go to shoot some of the additional footage, because the concept of the video is that he's going to talk about the business, and then he's going to go in to the garage and he's going to talk about the memorabilia and the stuff that he's collected over the years that's related to the business. It's kind of like a walk and talk. So the video is a combination of sit down interview and walk and talk. We're shooting the sit down first. I'm going to need an ND filter, so I'm going to put that on there. That gives me 5 stops, and then this Nissi package I have has another 5 stops available. This is just a standard Nissi True Color ND, so I'm trying to decide how much I need. Looking at this exposure, and I need to be at the lowest exposure possible. And I want to be at 180 degree shutter speed. So if I'm here, yeah, I'll be okay with just 5 stops of ND. I'm looking at my waveform to see where I'm at. I just did a frequency scan on my receiver. This is a Wizicom MCR54. Got very clean frequencies, so I'm happy about that. It happens to be frequency that my transmitter is already set to, so that's good. I prefer to shoot on 256s because I don't like to run out of space. So I'm just getting cards in here and I'm going to format them. Specifications for the project are 4K, 24p in a Rec 709 format, so they don't want log, which is common for this kind of job. A lot of times they don't want log because they want to be able to edit quickly and just be ready to go. So I'm going to be giving them files that are straight off the S5. My audio from my bag is going to go straight into the S5 with my audio snake. Give me another mic check.
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, keep going. A little more.
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, before we start, say and spell your name so we get that right.
Okay, my name's Terry Moberly, Terry Moberly.
Being a solo operator on this shoot, things got a little crazy, and we had to start as soon as I got set up. So the way this works is I run the interview locally, and that's what the client prefers. I've been on a pre-production call with the client, so I understand exactly what they're looking for. Plus, they've provided me a detailed shot list and list of interview questions that they like me to go through. and they're on the phone, but they're on mute. So basically they're just listening to the interview, and they normally wait till the very end to provide any feedback or additional questions. I use a Google Doc that I'm monitoring on my phone, and the client is typing into the Google Doc. She's adding, deleting, moving things around, and it's very live and interactive. I prefer that method over the client remotely asking the questions. I think you get better answers. I think you get better eye line on the camera. You get better facial expressions from the subject if you do it that way. I have done interviews where the client is remote and they actually conduct the interview completely remote. I've even gone so far as putting my camera into my computer and into a Zoom call and actually giving the client the image of what the camera sees. In this case, that's not what we do. That's not how they prefer to do it, and I like it that way. When we first got there, and on all the pre-production calls, the plan was to interview 2 people. So I was set for that. I had all the gear for that. And then when we got there, it turns out that it was just going to be 1 person. And that made my day a lot easier once I figured out it was 1 person, because filming 2 people on an interview is somewhat complicated sometimes. It's not the easiest thing to do, especially by yourself. And then the idea originally was to potentially shoot inside his garage. His garage is where all the memorabilia is. The client trusted me and said, hey, pick the location that you want. And ahead of time I had asked, hey, is it okay if we shoot this thing outside? She said, yeah, totally, it's okay to shoot it outside. I thought outside was the best because he had a full set of shade. His trees were covering all of the area nicely with shade, which is great for video. We were in the afternoon time, so our interview was supposed to start around 3, and we were just starting to get into that, afternoon sun, which I like, especially in the shade. So because he had good coverage there, I opted to shoot outside. I like to use lights when I'm outside in the shade. I have a couple 300Ds, so that can really help a face in the shade to register, and it can really add some dimension to the face. So the way we set this up is he was talking to the right, so his talk space was to the right. So I put a 300D about 5 to 6 feet away from him on my Chimera softbox, and I had to run it pretty high. I think I ran it somewhere around 80% on the strength, and what that did is it really lightened up his face, gave some dimension to his face, because sometimes when you shoot in the shade you just get a flat look on the face. So I liked the way it looked with 1 light. The sun was behind him, so it was lighting up his shoulder a little bit, depending on the way that the shade was dappling. It was lighting up his shoulders, lighting up the rim of his head. I really liked how it looked. For audio, it was just really simple. He was wearing a polo shirt, which I prefer. I mean, you can't get any better than that because there's a place to clip that mic. And it was a gray polo shirt, so the mic kind of blends in. So I was liking all that. And then I just ran 1 Wizicom MTP61 transmitter and brought it into my mixer. And then my mixer was connected to my camera. So because this client wants it to be embedded. The sun was moving through the leaves throughout the day, but most of the interview, there wasn't a whole lot of highlights on his face. A couple of times some highlights showed up on the edge of his face, but I was monitoring that, making sure that it was inside the waveform where it wasn't peaking on the whites. The challenge with doing projects like this is speed and efficiency, because you're literally coming into someone's house, and within about an hour to an hour and a half, you're setting up lots of expensive equipment, you're moving stuff around, and then they're in front of a camera and you're expecting them to just be natural and emotive. And that's hard sometimes. You just have to bridge that gap with some communication and just make sure you're making them feel at ease, that they look good, they sound good. Some people are self-conscious about their house, and you just got to ensure that, you know, we're here to make you look good, here to make you sound good. Another challenge you run into is getting people to use context. A lot of times people will forget to use proper names, proper locations. They'll forget to give proper context for what they're talking about. They'll slip into they and them and over there and back there, and instead of Bob, Sue, my house, the office, you know, whatever. So you need them to always remember that they have to add context to their questions. I was just recording one ISO track on my mixpre, and that was just for backup purposes. And I was running my noise assist at -2, which is about normal. I almost always keep it at -2 because there's always going to be something that interrupts an interview with sound. There's always going to be something, especially when you're outside. There's going to be maybe an airplane, a car. In this case, we were near a lake, so maybe a boat or some sort of thing like that. Shooting solo is certainly something that takes a bit of patience and courage. I've done it a lot over the years. I tend to go in waves where I shoot solo on a bunch of projects and then I don't, and I'm on a bunch of bigger projects where I'm not all by myself. You can only do so much by yourself. But if you have the tools, if you've got proper lighting, audio, camera, if you've got all the tools and you know how to use them, then go for it, you know? So if you're out there fighting the good fight on Freelance, I just want to encourage you to keep going, all right? It's a grind. It's a grind every day, okay? You never stop looking for projects. I'm always on the hunt. I'm always trying to book the next gig. That's the way you're doing it. Just keep going, all right? It levels out. If you're in a low period, it'll level out. If you're in a high period, it'll level out. It's not always going to stay busy. It's not always going to stay slow. As long as you're networking and being the best crew person that you can be on every single job that you work, it's going to level out, okay? It's going to work. You just have to stick with it, all right? One of the things that I do in my schedule that really helps is I make sure that I bring in diversity. So I diversify the types of things I'm doing and the people I'm working for. I try to make sure that not all of my work is coming from the same source. That's one way to definitely get yourself into some dry spells if you use all of your time to work for one person. Sometimes that's easy to fall into because that one person is just booking you a lot and you think, okay, well, I'm going to keep working for them a lot. And this is great. Well, try to shy away from that. On the freelance life, variety is good. Sometimes we think that variety is not good, but variety is good. And then if you can build up your schedule and work for different types of jobs, there's not a lot of markets out there that are big enough where you can literally focus on one type of thing. I'm in a Midwest market in Indianapolis, and right now I can't necessarily focus 100% on audio. So sometimes I do camera work at Pacer games and Colts games and other sports related things. Sometimes I'm doing solo operation like I'm doing today, where I'm doing lights, audio, camera. I also work some events where I do labor for events. So I will do load in and load out at corporate events, concerts. I'll mix monitors at local concerts. I will mix front of house for some local concerts. I also go on the road for different clients and do straight up just normal corporate video shoots. The key is variety. So if you're wondering, how do you keep booked and how do you keep the cash flow coming in? It's just variety, okay? That's what you gotta do. You gotta find it, go after it, embrace it. Sometimes it's easy to run away from it because you just think, oh man, I got this one person who's just gonna hire me to do everything, and that can lead to some trouble. I've been there. It can lead to trouble. If that client goes away, what are you gonna do? You know. Moral of the story here is keep at it. Fight the good fight. Keep in the grind. Don't give up. I know it's hard, but keep going. We will see you in the next one.